Hello guys, welcome again to the second video of Rust series. In this video, we are going to discuss the Rust data types and what is very. Before starting and jumping into the Rust code part, I want to ask and give you a real example of variables. Suppose, what is a way to store milk? You can simply answer, we store milk in some container. Okay, nice. That's a good answer. How about you can store salt? Again, you say we store salts in some jars. Similarly, sugar, you can say yes, we store this thing in jars. In similar way, in similar way, we have something called variables. Variables are used to hold some kind of data, some kind of data is held by the variable. What kind of data? There are in Rust, there are various types of data. There are this type, this type having lots. Okay. What these type are in real life analogies, you have milk. What is the type of milk? It's a liquid. What is the type of salt? Salt may be of type solid and may be of type powder. So you store in some jar. That's why you store in jars. Similarly, Rust have some type of data types. This concept is known as data types, which means the data that I am dealing is what kind of what type of data is it? Suppose are you s- are you dealing with integer? Say you have number like 10, sorry, 200, -500. Similarly, there are also different type of decimal value. In real life, we have decimal values like 3.14, 9.8, something called minus 0.5, and so on. We have lots of and infinite type of value. Similarly, we deal something like its condition is true. It's today raining true. Is sun rises from the east, sets in the west. This condition is true. यानी कि we have Boolean values. This is known as Boolean. This type of data is of two types. Either it's true or false. Similarly, we have character, which is used to denote values like string value, a particular letter of English, not letter, an alphabet. Like, see, this type of data is stored in the character. This is one type. This is one type of data. This is one type of data in Rust. Why I'm saying this is one type because this is known as scalar type. Scalar type, what a scalar is, they have fixed size. In real life analogy, you have 1 liter of milk. You know that you have to store 1 liter of milk in a container. In a container. You know that you have to store 1 liter of milk. Similarly, you know that it has some length. Let's say integer has some x length I'm not going to discuss this size. I'll cover in a particular section in this video. Similarly, we have different type of data, which is which is nothing but just a combination of this scalar data. This data is known as this particular form of data is known as complex type data. This particular concept is known as complex type data. In this data, it's a combination of this integer, boolean, decimal characters, and so on. It's a combination. What type of uh, these type this kind of data contain is string. String is like Rust is an amazing. Now you are saying, hey, what is the difference between this thing and this thing? Observe clearly. It is an alphabet, but it is a long combination of different characters arranged to give you a meaningful information. Okay. Similarly, we have something called arrays. What are arrays? I have a particular video for you where I have totally discussed this array, the string, as well as tuple. And one type of data as well in Rust or in any other programming language, we have something called unknown data. What this unknown data means? Suppose I have to define a user in my program. I have to define user in my program. How I how I can introduce this user in my program? I can simply say user has a name, user has some age, user has some role, user has some called thing password, user something called have email address. So imagine this is also a data. Name can be a string, age can be a number, role can be an enum. Enum is also a type. It's not data type, but it is used to hold the constant values, a particular type or a defined type. Okay. Similarly, a password again an string, email is an string. That's why I'm saying that this is a known data type. It's a complex data type. Okay. Uh, we have done with the theory. Next part is we are going to write the next program. Next program is how to declare variables. We are going to declare variables. Variables are declared with the help of let key. Let is a reserved keyword of Rust, which help me in declaring any variable. Variable is just a container. Now, at this point, I need to give a name of the variable. What name? So, suppose you have to store sugar. You have to sugar. You have to store sugar. My bad. If you have to store a sugar, you are going to store this sugar in some particular container. But sugar and salt, both of same type. How can I distinguish that this container is sugar and this container is salt? So what you usually give is this is called sugar. You give the name to the container. This contains sugar. This contains salt. Similarly, I'm going to give a name which holds some data. Let's say programming language. Language. This is the name of the variable, not data. Data is assigned on the right side after the equal. This operator is known as equals operator. If I open the bracket up now, you are saying that this is string. No, this is not string. It's there are two type of string in Rust. First, this is also a string, and this is also a string. The only difference is how they store in the memory. The next video will explain these two things as well. In next video, you can understand what is the difference between this and this. For not just forget this thing, I just store Rust. I just store Rust and say that's how. Now, similarly, I can print it. I'm force my computer, my terminal, my system to print whatever the thing that I passed in this variable. What is this variable holds? What kind of data this? So if I am going run cargo run, it will. Oh, my bad. We have to write a semicolon at the end. That's why it says help at semicolon here. See, that's why Rust help you in avoiding to do mistake. It gives why it's saying why it crashes, why it throw an error. It's so that you do not that you forgot to add semicolon at the end of the program. Well, I usually working with JavaScript as well, so semicolon are not necessary to go to, right? That's why. See, I can able to print Rust. Acha, there's one thing is bugging in your mind. What is this syntax? Why you write this is just semicolon, this quotes and quotations, and then you write something called this curly braces. Well, it's a way to print something in Rust. This is called macro. This particular symbol is called macro, which is used which is used to call a function, same as print. Here, this is called a string interpolation or a string exact. I forgot the exact one. This is called string interpolation. Here is allowed. You can write any variables. In this curly braces, you can write any variable. In our case, we have programming language. Now you want to see the difference why I use this thing. If I write is an amazing language, which now for you guys, just guess out what will be the output of this whole program. What will be the whole output of this program? If you guessed it, Rust. Let's see. If you guess this thing, then you are now understanding the rest. In case you don't, you eventually will learn what is this. You eventually learn and slowly, you will understand this. Now, I have a question for you guys. I am declaring again a variable x with 5 and putting the semicolon. Is I am able to manipulate. this X to 1. For now, all the variables that I declare with let keyword is by default immutable, which means I cannot mutate the value of X. I cannot mutate the value of X, yeah, or variable. Simply say data. I cannot mutate the data which holding the variables. So if I want, I write this as 5. But now I want this 5 to be converted to 6. I'm not able to do this. Rust will not allow me to convert this data to 6. Why? Rust providing me a keyword which help you mutating your data to different ones. If you, in case you do not believe on me, just write this thing. X is equals to x plus 1. Right, and then macro and just print x. See, it throws an error. I forgot. Oh, my bad. My bad. See, it's throw an error for me. If you want to change the value, first assignment to x. See, it says assign twice to immutable variable x. Immutable variable. Because I cannot mutate whatever the data that is stored. If if you say that let experiment one thing. Okay. I'm not able to mutate this thing in X. What about this? Can I mutate this thing? Let's see. Let's find out. Yes. In similar data, suppose you have this salt. Yeah, the example goes, you store salt in a jar. In a jar. Are you able to add sugar in it? In this jar, in this particular jar, are you able to store sugar in it? You can say, yes, we can, but technically, if we can see as a technically, we are not able to store sugar in it, particularly holds for, I mean, salt. It particularly holds for salt. If you want to add, in case you want, just take some other jar, take some other jar, take the salt, take the sugar. No one can stop you in this. But if you are storing salt and on that you are trying to adding sugar, your mom will beat you. My mom will beat me. So similarly, in that case, the rust does not allow me to store some other values to me, but I can store the value in other. Okay, they are good for now. Now, I tell you one thing. Okay, just give me a second. Let me just reopen my code and just because I need to teach you one more thing as well. Now, I told you we have different type of data types. We have different types of data types. Integer, booleans, decimals, characters. Now, I have to ask you one thing. What is oh, just tell me what is the data type of this thing. What kind of data is this? If you simply say it's a numeric, what type of data is this? Data type. You can simply say it's also numerical. What about this? This is not a good way to store to declare the variable because usually the variables has some meaning. I am using some small sentence. Now it is a decimal. But if you observe that my ID is showing me something called I32, F46. What is this? In integer, we have a concept of size. Before, not in integer, we something called have size in integers. In integers and in decimals, we have called. Just tell me one thing. We are able to store minus 500, 100, 200. It's a negative value. So how I able to represent this negative value in my system? I can simply use I. I stands for just a second, guys. Size of integer. Yeah, I am specifying this integer. Integer we have called sign. Positive numbers are denoted by unsigned integer, unsigned values. Usually we are using for this U character. We are using U symbol for it. And for the negative value we use signed integers and values. For the signed values we use I. Now in both we have something called of they can be of different size. First, we have uh, this one. We have 8 bits. This is called 8 bits. Similarly, we have 32 bits, 16 bit also there. We have 16 bit, 32 bits, 64 bit, and we have okay, we also have 128 and as well as unsizing, which is usually denoted as U size or I size. Normal. Here you can write U slash I. You can write anything. Okay. Now, what I am trying to convey is if we have, let's say, a particular variable B of size I8. Right now, I am explicitly typing B as I8 and I am going to store 256 in here. It will throw me an error. What this error means and why I choose this. Yeah, give me a second. 8 bit means 8 bit means it's 2 raised to power 8, which is all around 256. But it's not actually 256, it's 256 minus 1 because our programming language starts from 0 and goes to this round. It means it has a meaning. That's why I am talking very slow, very small pace, step by step. Because after this 5 to 6 video, I am going to very fast. In this case, I am trying to type 256 as a number. As a number. Compiler, Rust compiler, throw an error for me. Hey, you have allocate of size. You can store the value of 255. But now you are trying to store value 256, which means it is greater. It says I am not able to store 256 in my body. I can store a value up to 255. That's why it throws an error. If you see the rest, it will say literal out of range for I8. The literal 256 does not fit into the type I8, whose range is minus 128 to 127. It's usually meaning is because I declared with I, यानी कि I can store. It means I can store it. Okay. One thing. I forgot about the I. I'm going covering up like in just a minute. 256. Okay. Now understand this last line. This last line. Letter 256 do not fit into the type U8, whose range is 0 to 255. Now you got the error. Or it have lot of things. Overflowing underscore literal. If I compile this thing, it will throw me an error. Obviously, it show me an error, but it will throw an error. Out of range for U120. If you observe something, I use I, and it says minus 128 to 127. It means it means the negative sign, sorry, the negative signs can hold positive value as well as negative value. But the drawback of this thing complete is we dividing our range into the half. It means it goes 2 raised to power 2 raised to power something of n. N is say n is size. In case size 8 bit, 16 bit, 38 bit, 64 bit, 128 bit, and users. So it if I am talking about 8, now my range is decreased to 127 to 126, which is thrown out. 128 to 127, 28, 127. Now you are saying why this thing is happening to me. Why this is happening? Because I told you, see, just skip me. This is our life. This is an our integer. And I'm assuming this is zero. This is zero. Yeah. So, and I have to break down 256. How can I break down it? Not 256, but 256 minus 1. Minus 1 is 255. Because I am considering this zero value as well. This zero values. So it will goes to the half. If I divide this 255 to uh just a second. If I divide this 255 into half, I got some decimal value, but I avoid it. I am avoiding it. I am avoiding it. That's why I take one more value to the negative side and one less value to the positive side. This is the negative integer sign value. This is the difference. In U size, you completely get this from zero in particular this 255. You completely get including zero. Next topic we are going to discuss our second type. We are taking the booleans. In booleans, we have the value it's either true or false. Boolean. It's simply denoted by bool. Yeah, they use Gen Z slangs. It might, it has just two values, either true or either false. False. They have only two types, either true or either false. Okay, so if how can I say I'm going to write a statement if age is greater than 18, if age is greater than 18, friend Alan, you are an adult. So far, so good. We know what it is, but he does not declare. Let's say I am declaring age as just 20. Okay, now let's compile this thing. You avoid just that code. Just that code means I am not using this Z by default, so it will throw me an error that it is a dead. To avoid that coding, we use underscore, which says a compiler, which says Rust compiler that this value must be known. Now, if I compile this, argo one, what we get? We get you are an adult. Six, whatever the other statement are. Well, just commenting. You can see that I declare age as 20 which satisfy a condition. Is your age is greater than 18? If your age is greater than 18, it will say, it will explicitly say, keep print this code of law. I am going to cover this if as in a video where I'll cover control. There I discussed this difference. For now, just understand what this condition means. If I took this condition and use it like this, that a bool value is equals to something this. And sorry, not boolean value. I am out of the names that that's it. Let's try to print what is the value is inside this well. That's you can clearly see it's give me true. It's give me true value because it is this condition is true. This is known as conditional statement. This line is called condition. This line is called condition because it compiled in the terms of true and false. That's why it's giving me true and false. Similarly, our next uh, value is equals to this character value. You can see here I am writing char value. I am not able to write this thing. It will throw an character literal may only contain one code pane, not this whole string. This is known as a string. This thing is known as a string. This is known as character. Okay, this is not fancy, but this is the technique. This is the correct technical word. If I try to print ln, Same. Well, okay, just a second. Just a second. What I write this is known as space can. Next line. This is next line character. It's a difference between using when I cover this print and print ln. Print ln means print the print whatever you are holding and goes to next line. But print simply says I'm just printing one line. There's no next line. So I explicitly type okay, print and write a new line for me. So if I am going to print, it will print in next line. See, true. Then then a next line will come for me where I am able to write this. I'm aware of this thing also in a video. Okay. So we have covered over this variables and data type. Okay. We next video is the second part. Is the second part where I cover flow, decimal values, and this complex data type. This complex data type, string, array, tuples. I'm going to cover this in the next video. So till then, thank you for watching this video. Thank